SimWorld presents Around the Table with E and the Fat Man.
What's up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I'm here with my man E. Eric. Tell everybody hi.
Hi, everybody out there in SimWorld. You got E and Bob with Around the Table.
Everybody, this is our first episode. Around the Table is a little bit of a mix of what's hot in SimWorld, a little bit of what's hot in the real world. E, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Bob, but I was on the road for a few days. You know how it is when you travel. You come back and you get punished. It doesn't matter, vacation, whatever. It all piles up. But hey, I'm doing good. I'm excited to kick Around the Table off. Hope you're doing good as well.
I'm doing great. I hear you. I drive for like 30 minutes, and I'm already ready to pull over and fall asleep. So,
well, hey, what do you want to do? What are we doing for our first topic here on Around the Table?
Well, I think you had a pretty great idea. We can go with the Mount Rushmore of the class of 2023. How about that?
I like it, and I think that there's going to be a few spots which are not going to be controversial, but maybe the last one is. So why don't you take it, Bob? Who do you got in your top four?
Oh, man, you want to... I'll start with the controversial ones. Obviously, Trey Turner, returning Junior of the Year, by far the best player returning. You got Lorenzo Phenom, another great player. Detroit should be... I think they should be the favorites heading into next season with all the talent that they have. I would go with... It hurts me a little bit to pick him. It also hurts me a little bit to not want to pick him. But Tyson Simpson, he is just like Lorenzo Phenom. I think he might be better than Lorenzo Phenom. He just has all those tools. Now, you mentioned controversial, and my number 4 spot is going to go to Drake Carvel.
Oh, my God.
Bear with me a little bit here.
All right, I'll hear you out. I'm willing to at least hear you out, Bob.
I understand that Lee Darius Outlaw is, or can be, a great player, but the way that the end of the season went for him and just the excuses and his attitude with the way, I can't put him in my top 4 right now. He can absolutely make his way back into it next season, but just... I think I'm throwing a little bit of bias on the outside, and it's not what I like to do. I like to focus on the court stuff, which he's very good, but I'm going to leave him off my top 4 until he proves to me that he can keep it together all around.
Okay. All right. Well, I take your LDO criticism on board, but we're going to come back to Drake Carvel. Let's start with the other 3 first, because we got a lot to talk about with Drake. But the other 3, yeah. First of all, Trey Turner, no doubt about it. Lorenzo Phenom, I want to adopt Phenom, basically. I love those 2 kids. They're great. They have to be there. I don't know of anybody that could dispute that. In fact, if you're listening to this and you do dispute that, please get in touch with us. We'll add you to the next show, because I want to hear somebody argue why one of those 2 shouldn't be on the Rushmore of SimWorld next year. But let's touch on Tyson Simpson for 1 second. I get it. I get your reservations, but for me, he has to be there too, and he's the clear number 3. He's just too big. He's too skilled. Yeah. And look, he's already put up elite rebounding and block numbers from last year. I believe he was in the top 10 in both categories, just as a 16-year-old playing against older, bigger kids out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he gets his offensive game tuned up any for this year, he could be in the conversation for number 1 overall. So those 3, no doubt, no dispute. Drake Carvel. Let's talk about Drake Carvel for a minute. Look, I do respect the kid as an outside shooter. He's a great shooter, shot better than 45% from 3 last year, and he put up more than 19 points a game. But at the end of the day, he's also just about a 45% shooter from the field overall. It takes lots of shots to get there. He was Chicago's number 1 option. So for Lakeshore Drive coming back this year, he will certainly be the number 1 offensive option again. Although, frankly, last year, LaGerald Carroll should have been. But again, another conversation. But look, the problem with Drake Carvel is that he can, he's got some skills. He can create his own shot. He obviously has that outside shooting ability. What he's not is he's just not a very good athlete. And that limits him in a couple ways. One is that it just makes getting easy buckets, getting to the rim, transition is tough for him. You don't see him doing that very often. And then the other thing is, and this stat stays in my mind, so I'm going to quote it. Kid averaged 1.9 rebounds per game last year as the number 2 guard for the team, playing probably at least 25 minutes a game. And he had the 3rd lowest rebounding total on the team, Only Carter Hines Allen and Steve Larson averaged less than him for Chicago. And if you don't know those names, if you're not familiar with Steve Dogg and CHA, well, there's a reason for that. And Drake Carvel getting outperformed by them just speaks a lot right there. Look, he's a good player, but he's not on my Rushmore. It has to be Lace Darius Outlaw. Look at just the compare and contrast. LDO, elite athlete, has great intangibles. He's also a playmaker, by the way. Like, LDO could run the point for you in the pinch if he needs to. Now, doesn't happen with Montel Cage on that West Coast team, averaging 6 assists a game. But no, I think it's the number clear. 4 spot goes to Lace Darius Outlaw. And look, he can also shoot the ball from outside. He just had a rough year last year, 33.6% from deep. He'll improve on that number as a senior. He'll bring that number way up, and he's going to bring all of his numbers way up too. Kid's a star. You can't take your eyes off of him many times on the court. LDO, it has to be for me, rounding out my Rushmore. So sorry to beat up on you and Drake like that, Bob. I love the both of you, but it's got to be LDO, and it can't be Drake for that last spot.
Yeah, and I won't argue against Outlaw being on anybody's top 4 returning, because again, he is just a great overall player. It's just something about it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth that I
get it.
I want him to prove a little bit more to me next year. He was number 1 all season long until the last rankings for a reason. It wasn't because he was just an average player and everybody else was terrible. He was a great player for the majority of the season. Trey Turner just absolutely took over at the end, and Outlaw just kind of faded for me.
Now, he did play through an injury at the end of last season.
So,
give some credit for that. Hey, you know this day and age, most people, if they're not 100%, won't go.
I know.
When's the last time Kevin Durant played with a minor injury?
Yeah, no, I know.
A while.
I respect players playing through injuries. One of my favorite players of all time, Brett Favre, played through everything that you could imagine. But then you also have to look at Baker Mayfield last season. He played through this injury and always blamed it on the injury. Never really seemed to take accountability. And I kind of feel like that's where LDO's hurting me a little bit, is I don't feel like there was ever accountability. It was just always, it was this, it was that. Just, you weren't playing well. Yeah, you're injured, but you weren't playing well. Just say it.
Well, I think you will see a perfectly healthy, very motivated Lace Darius Outlaw shining next year as a senior. Does have a little bit, it's good too that he did struggle some at the end of the year. Gives him some motivation coming into this one. And we'll see. I'm excited for the season coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hey, maybe that's enough hoops talk for episode 1. Enough SimWorld talk for episode 1 here, Bob. Let's close this thing out with a little bit of pop culture. So I'm going to throw out two things for you and for our audience that I have seen recently that I highly recommend. The first is if you have Paramount Plus. Have you heard about this or seen this yourself, Bob? The Offer on Paramount Plus about the making of The Godfather?
I haven't.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, it's about a 10-episode series. Really good. If you have seen the Godfather movies, there's a very good chance that you are going to like this. Highly entertaining. And the other thing I've got for you is there's a new Woodstock 99 documentary out called Trainwreck. Not the first Woodstock 99 documentary out there. Not the first one I've seen, but this one's quite good as well. My God, was that thing a mess. And just entertaining TV. If you don't know much about what went on at the Woodstock 99 festival, it's gonna be a learning experience. But even if you do know something, there's so many details and behind the scenes stories and just little, tragedies that went on over those 3 days.
Is that the one where a lot of people got hurt?
A few people died. Some people got hurt, but what it was mostly known for is it descended into chaos that got worse and worse progressively with each day till finally at the end of the 3rd day, when the Red Hot Chili Peppers closed the whole festival, basically the 200,000 people remaining on site set everything on fire.
Well, there you go. Hey, that's what better way than to end a concert, right?
That's right. Right.
But you gave us your little bit of pop culture, what you think we should all check out, and I'm going to let everybody know what they shouldn't check out. I'm going to save everybody 10 minutes of their time. the game released a diss track on Eminem a couple days ago. That is 10 minutes that you will never get back, and you will you will want to find a hammer and hit yourself with it. It was trash. Don't give him the views. Don't give him the listens. It was a cash grab trying to get people to come in. Don't watch it. Don't listen to it. I should say don't listen to it. Just forget about it. Forget about it.
There's your Big Bob public service announcement, everybody, folks. We hope you don't regret the minutes you spent with us here on this first Around the Table, but it's been fun. Bob, I've enjoyed it. Can't wait to do some more with you. Hope you folks out there will continue to listen and like us. Excited for Season 2 of SimWorld to get underway.
Absolutely. Be good, everybody.